It's time now for Mental Health Matters with your host, Lisa Reimer. Mental Health Matters is graciously underwritten by New Vision Eye Center, world-class eye care on the Treasure Coast. New Horizons thanks Dr. Paul Minotti, Dr. Stephen Tate, Dr. Robert Reinauer, and Dr. David O'Brien. Now, here's Lisa Reimer.
Hi, I'm Lisa Reimer with Mental Health Matters. I'm a communications officer with New Horizons of the Treasure Coast. This is part 2 of our mental health court interview. In the studio with me is Judge Menz with the 19th Judicial Circuit, Indian River County, Laura Saputo with the Indian River County Sheriff's Office, and Arlene Villare, who is a licensed mental health counselor with New Horizons. So we've been talking about mental health court and what constitutes or what the eligibility for someone is to be in mental health court. If you want to hear our first half of the show, it is on our Facebook page on New Horizons Mental Health. So we were talking about successes, and I want to hear some of the success stories. So why don't we begin with you, Judge Menz?
Sure. Before I became a judge, I was in private practice, and I had a law office here in Vero Beach downtown. And we had a young man who was homeless, and he lived behind the garbage dumpster at our law office. So we would see him every day. Every morning we would come to the law office, he would get up, and then I would see him then walk around town throughout the day. And he was there for the longest time, and then all of a sudden I didn't see him for a while. And one day, as a private practitioner, I had a client that I was placing into mental health court. And as I was sitting in the jury box waiting for my client to be called, up walked this young man who looked familiar to me, but looked entirely different. And I heard Judge Cox address him, and I found out it was this young man who was living behind our garbage dumpster. He had clean, pressed clothes. He was talking to the judge about his new apartment that he had just gotten, and he got a job. I couldn't even recognize him. That is how drastic the change is when these people get their mental health needs addressed. And that is really what our problem-solving courts are all about.
That's awesome. What about you, Laura?
I had a client that was put into mental health court for a reason. It had to do with her daughter, whatever the rest was for. She was late for everything. She couldn't realize that her lateness was affecting every aspect of her life. Her daughter was late for school. She was late to her appointments. And every time she was late to an appointment, it really affected everything, not just her mental health. It affected, she was getting ready to be kicked out of the place that she had to be at. She was ordered to go. She had missed 6 appointments, rescheduling, late, and they would email and say, your client didn't show up, she's at risk of being kicked out, and she was ordered to go there. And not just that, the other places that she was ordered to go to, she was late, not showing up, and it was really beginning to be very frustrating. Court date, she was our client of the week. She has showed up to all of her appointments on time. She is like the star client now, and it's really amazing to see that change and that turnaround and what mental health court has done for her.
So how did that happen?
Just having case management in her life, having peer services in her life, changing the therapist, changing psychiatry, and just finding what the right formula was for her.
Now, you spoke in the break a little bit about incentives and sanctions. Were
Yes.
there those placed on her?
Yes.
And so tell us what incentives and sanctions are.
So at the beginning, her sanctions were, she was having to drug test more. She was having...
Like a punitive. So if you miss, then you're going to have it twice next week.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. So she was getting a lot of sanctions at the beginning, having to do extra groups because she wasn't showing up to groups. And we were trying to figure out what the right formula was for her. Mm-hmm. I figured out that her getting extra sanctions wasn't working. Mm-hmm. And it really took a lot of work on my part to figure out what is the right formula for her. So I sat down with her. I sat down with the peer specialist, sat down with the psychiatrist, with the doctor, and said, what can we do to help her? What's the right formula for her? And we really had to change therapists. We had to change psychiatrists. And she started going to the appointments that she really needed to. So for her incentive, she got a gift card, and whatever gift card she wanted to pick. And that really lifted up her spirit. And just talking to her in the last 2 weeks, she has really changed. She's done a turnaround, and it's amazing
wonderful
to see her. Yeah.
What about you, Arlene?
I recall a woman who, suffering from bipolar disorder, was in a manic episode, was caught speeding very, very fast. So she ended up in our court. There's been a lot of ups and downs, and because I believe she's been in the court for almost a year, but she got her 1 year sober chips, and she has a job. She had DCF involvement, but she's been working her case plan with DCF. Totally different person. And the difference with her, she said, I started taking my medication. And it's just about staying on medication, staying stable for her. And as Laura mentioned, everybody has a different formula that's going to work for them. And for her, it was that simple. I just got to stay on my meds, go to my appointments, and I can make this happen. And I believe that for her, this was her first and only arrest, but not her first manic episode. And there are going to be ups and downs, but we've explained to her that that's all part of the process, and that's why we're there for that extra support. And to say we're noticing some changes in your behavior, that kind of thing, to keep her on track. But she's been doing it all on her own. She's been doing great.
So it's so scary with that level of care and involvement from this program. Aren't you scared to let them go? I know it's probably fly away, little birdies, you're on your own, but still, these are adults.
And that's not what our goal is. Our goal is to set them up for when they're done with our court, that they will still have services in the community when they're through with us. So they'll still have case management. They can still go to the learning center. They can still go to our house for peer services. So they're not alone. And I think when they come into our program, they've maybe never had anybody that cared for them before. And that's what makes it sometimes difficult at the beginning. They've never had anybody that cared for them. So why should I take medicine? Nobody cares. Or why should I even work this program? Nobody cares. And with all the support that they have around them, the wraparound services, if you will, that just makes a difference in their life. Wow, I have something somebody that cares for me, something that I live for. And then we send them off, like you said, a nice warm handoff to all the other services. So they're able to transition into a good life.
I just want our viewers to know that Laura actually is a sheriff's deputy. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
So what kind of training did you receive then to become a case manager in mental health court?
I was trained by she's our court coordinator. So she trained me on how to be a case manager, because I wasn't a case manager. But I had CIT training, the crisis intervention training, as an officer inside the jail.
Okay.
So I worked a lot in our medical department with mentally ill inmates.
Okay.
So I learned a lot. I'm also going to school to get my master's degree to be a licensed therapist.
Oh.
So I'm really interested in mental health.
That's fascinating.
And I
That's
thought
wonderful.
if I could dive into mental health court and learn so much more, this could only help me in the future. This is a great job, and I love helping people.
When I started as a journalist, actually, about 20 years ago in Indian River County, I remember going through the jail on a tour and being told that about 10% of the jail population was not needing psychotropic drugs for mental illness or mental health issues, I should say. Now, the rule of thumb is about 50.
Correct.
But you said that actually 50% of the Indian River County jail inmates receive mental health services.
Right.
That's wonderful that they're receiving the services that they need rather than that 10%.
Right.
Do you think it's higher than 50%?
I think it's right about that.
Okay, so we are assessing them correctly and giving them.
Exactly.
That's terrific. I mean, we've come a long way just in 20 years then.
Right.
So, Judge Menz, you went from private practice into the mental health court. What kind of training did you receive?
So I just came back. Actually, Laura and I went, and a few other members of our team. We went to the National Association of Drug Court Professionals national seminar in Washington, D.C. There were 6,000 people there, from judges to law enforcement, doctors, case managers, social workers, court personnel. And they covered all the problem-solving courts: drug court, mental health court, and veterans treatment court. So I have gone through that training. In addition to, I spent a lot of time following Judge Cox before I took the bench, and then obviously being aware of it as a private attorney out in private practice also. But my biggest training has been that National Association of Drug Court Professionals seminar.
And Arlene, so we are just at New Horizons, just coming into the Martin County mental health court. Was that existing before we got there, or are we just starting that?
Oh, no, they did have it for a little bit of time. I believe that they needed some more assistance, so they reached out to, like right now, Health and Human Services shares that contract with New Horizons. They just didn't have the psychiatrist, therapist, case management, that kind of thing. They have case management, excuse me, but those other components that New Horizons does have. So together, we're able to really make a big impact with the mental health court. It helps with more fluid services to make sure that the clients have more services than they would have.
Such as, so I guess my question is, and I'm going to go back to, so at New Horizons, we have a crisis unit, and we see some of the same faces over and over again. Why? Because they go off their meds. You know, why? Because sometimes the meds don't work. They have not found that right balance, you know, and from what I understand, meds are kind of yucky. You know, they give you dry mouth, they take away your sex drive, they make you lethargic, you might eat more. So how do we counter that during mental health court? You know, so now they have a level of accountability, but after mental health court, do you follow up with your clients? Oh, you do? You keep in touch?
Oh, sure.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yes.
So how do you do that? Just
We'll call. We also use McCabe Connection Center here in Vero Beach.
Okay.
We'll sometimes have the clients meet us there. How are you doing? What's going on? Oh, you got a job. They still go to the peer services, the drop-in center at our house. Once you become a member there, you're a lifetime member. They can use the services there at the our house drop-in center as well. The peer specialist will follow up with them, give us updates too. So we keep in contact with the graduates.
And the social aspect, if something's gone awry, that's a good way of finding out, hey, you might want to check on so-and-so because, you know, I've been calling, no one's answering, or something like that.
Right.
Is that how it works?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So how many clients do we have in St. Lucie County right now in our mental health court?
We're at about 170.
And what about in Indian River County?
101 right now.
Wow, that's a lot. So so that is a very effective. That really takes the onus off of. Well, that's right there. You know, 300 people who aren't going to jail, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
So you talked a little bit about sanctions. So that's, you know, if they don't do what they're supposed to do, you know, being punished, they can then spend some time in jail.
Yes.
So that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
Is that a good?
I think we can agree that it's not our favorite.
No.
It's probably the last resort type thing. We won't go straight to a jail sanction because we know that's not where our clients need to be.
And that's not what the end goal is.
Right.
Correct.
Right. So you want to support that end goal. Right.
Some of the clients just need to time out, if you will.
Right.
There's no other way around it. You need a timeout. You're going to spend some time and think about maybe what you did. You know, you can't just continue to use, maybe they were using a substance and maybe put other clients at risk. So you can spend a couple days in jail, think about it. Maybe we'll make them write a paper or a report or something, so the next time they're in front of Judge Menz, they can read that paper. Maybe it's an apology, or maybe they thought about what they did and how it was wrong and how they put other clients at risk.
Okay, so we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about what next. Okay?
It's fun to visit Audrey's Feed and Tack, a distinctive country and western emporium. For simply Southern living, you'll find the finest in cowgirl couture. Styles that are uniquely Florida for the whole family. Upstairs in our boot room, you'll find Ariat, Dan Post, Laredo, and 10 Hall boots. The biggest selection this side of the big lake. The freshest and finest feed, hay, and supplies for your chickens and horses and most other farm animals. Audrey's, a great adventure. 66th Avenue and Oslo Road. Like us on Facebook.
For laser vision correction, general ophthalmology, glaucoma, and eyelid surgery, trust board-certified, fellowship-trained refractive surgeon Dr. David J. O'Brien at New Vision Eye Center. His practice includes the medical and surgical management of corneal disease and refractive surgery, including excimer laser vision correction. Call New Vision Eye Center for a consultation or second opinion. Your eyesight deserves world-class eye care. Visit newvisioneyecenter.com or call 772-257-8700.
Take a new direction with your pest control needs. Call Compass Pest Control. Hi, I'm Chris Hudman, co-owner of Compass Pest Control. We're not your ordinary pest control company. We have over 60 years of local experience. We know service after the sale is the most important part of our business. Call us at 925-1740. That's 772-925-1740, or on the web at compasspests.com. That's compass, PESTS.com.
With all the tasks we have to fit in a single day, it's no wonder many of us are not getting adequate sleep. And even if you get to bed at a decent hour, you may be among the millions who toss and turn all night struggling with insomnia. Eventually, the fatigue will take its toll on your mental health. A simple tip for helping induce sleep is lavender oil. Just spray lavender oil mixed with water on your pillow, or put a few drops of lavender oil in your bath water, or even drink a cup of lavender tea before drifting off into blissful slumber. It's amazing how awesome you feel after a good night's sleep. To learn more about improving your mental health, contact New Horizons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 772-468-5600 or visit newhorizonstreasurecoastinc.org. Okay, this is Lisa Reimer, and we're back with Mental Health Matters, and we're talking about mental health court. If you're just joining us, we have a whole first part of the interview, and this is the second part of the second interview. All of this will be on our Facebook page, a video, and that is New Horizons Mental Health. So, to wrap this all up, what are some of the benefits to the community for having a mental health court? I mean, we know now, we've talked a little bit about the benefits to the individual, but what about the community?
Well, there's a couple that are noticeable right off the bat. The first is the reduction in crime. We have those that have gone through our mental health court program to completion, whatever that may be, however they came into our program, they are only 11% reoffend. So first and foremost, that's how we're seeing the greatest impact. And second is on our tax dollars. Mental health court saves everybody money because these people are not being treated for their mental illness in jail, but rather they are out in the community getting using the programs in the community. So taxpayer dollars and the reduction in crime are first and foremost, from my perspective as a judge.
57% of New Horizons clients do not have a source of income or insurance, and yet we serve them anyway. And and some of that money is covered by the state. And we tell people it's a lot less money than emergency rooms, arrests, and incarceration.
Absolutely.
Because then you have to have, more staff at the emergency room, more, sheriff's deputies and police officers out on the roads. So if you're getting the kind of mental health services that are helping, then that reduces that number. And also, mental health clients tend to be more often the victims of crime than the perpetrators of crime. So while we're, this is a very timely issue with the shootings, it is more common for them to be the victims of crime than perpetrators. So do you see another benefit to the community by having mental health court?
A lot of our clients, if they are unable to work, a lot of times they'll volunteer for some short period of time. They can't do too much sometimes, depending on their mental illness. So volunteering, doing community service, I think that greatly impacts because as well too, it gives them some experience. And though they may not work right now, sometimes once their mental illness is actually under control a little bit better with their medication and their therapy, they actually can go and work, and they have that social aspect that they've gained from volunteering and from community service. So when they go into the workforce, it's essentially like, wow, I'm doing the same thing that I was doing over there. Now I'm actually going to be able to make some money for myself and stay more stable, because treatment costs money, right?
Right.
And even though New Horizons does help a lot with that, you would still have to pay something. You have to get there. You may have to pay somebody to get there or take a bus or something,
Right.
So if you have some income coming in, that helps greatly to maintain stability.
You mentioned jobs. Laura, what do you do to help the clients that you're working with get jobs?
So the UP Center, we partner with the UP Center. There's a program.
That's United Against Poverty?
I'm sorry, yes, United Against Poverty. It's a program called the Step Up program, and it's also in Fort Pierce as well. So it's a 6-week program, I believe, and the clients can sign up for it. They bring employers, they teach them skills, they teach them how to write a resume, and they bring employers in, second chance employers, to help employ our clients, but other clients as well. Employ them and get them back out into the community, into the workforce. We also I have a few clients in my on my caseload that are going to college, Indian River State College, getting their GED. One is in the adult education program. So they're making an impact in the community, getting back out there into the workforce. They don't.
So these are partnerships between Indian River State College, between the UP Center, between Mental Health, New Horizons Mental Health Association, the McCabe Center, all of this, which is part of the collaborative.
Right. And Arlene also said something about transportation. We partner with Senior Resource Association for the community coach. So our clients that don't have transportation, I can sign them up for the community coach. They'll pick our clients up and take them to and from appointments at no cost to the client.
And just really quick, we're on the last minute. Peers, we've mentioned that several times. We talk about that here on this show, that really the whole field of mental health has really incorporated peers, which is lived experience versus college experience, correct?
Right.
So if someone's interested, if they have that lived experience, they say, you know what, I could help. I could make a difference. I've been there, done that, and look at my life now. How can they get involved?
I can refer them to the Mental Health Association. They're the ones that our peers go through. There's a program that they have to go to, a class that they have to take, and they can register to be a peer specialist.
Okay.
So the Mental Health Association.
Arlene, also, do we use them at the New Horizons?
Absolutely, yeah. And peers are a very, very integral part for our clients' treatment and mental health, because they've been there, and it's a very different way of explaining that, hey, I'm an example, versus me or Laura saying, you can do this. They're saying, you can do this because I did it too. And they can go to the New Horizons website and be able to see if we have any availabilities for peers as well.
Okay. Any last words?
No, we just really appreciate you having us. It's so important, and it's very, very timely. And Indian River County ought to be proud for the services that we have and the work that everybody is doing to address these issues.
Thank you so much. I invite you all to participate in our Race for Recovery 5K run walk. Okay, so it's September 28th. It's at Indian River State College at the Pruitt campus. We have this every year. It's our 9th annual. September 28th. It's first thing in the morning. It's like $25 to register. We encourage everyone to get a team, get out there. There's music, there's yoga. It's a lot of fun, free bagels. So come on out if you want to know more. NHTCINC.org. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you next time.